interesting side event. Actually, we are really excited to be here at the ICFP International Conference, and we can present a little bit of our work and share it with you. Who are we? We are Rutgers WPF from Indonesia, and we work together with other partners such as PKBI Jawa Timur or East Java, PKBI Lampung, Puli, and Rifka Alisa. And we work in the MenCare program, or with the MenCare program. We implement the MenCare program, which is also implemented in Rwanda, South Africa, and Brazil with other partners. And we have been implementing this program since 2013. And we are really excited to share with you today some of the work we do related to family planning. Of course, the MenCare program is much wider than only family planning or interventions related to family planning. But today we will share some case study on achieving gender equality through engaging men in family planning, and some stories of impact which will be presented with impact or case study in Lampung, and the other partners will also present what they have done, some of their best practices in their regions. Actually, this morning I think it was this morning, I was in the Indonesia plenary session in the big hall, and it was again mentioned there that long-term methods in family planning in Indonesia are seriously lacking behind. So some interventions must be done to increase this, because it's very important to have more long-term methods, as the method mix request us. In Indonesia, the male contraception program is considered unsuccessful. Until today, it's only 4.6% of men participate in contraception use in Indonesia, which is very low. And why it is very low, we will tell you later on, but mostly because we have, and this is not only the case in Indonesia, but also in some other countries, patriarchal cultural paradigm, which makes it very, very difficult to engage men in family planning. There is a mindset, an idea that family planning is a thing for women, for the only, and men do not engage in this. And on the other side, there is a lot of reluctance, because there is lack of knowledge of men on what is actually male contraception and what men can do. There are a lot of myths also about men using contraceptives or contraceptive methods, and we will also explain that at length in this case study. So engaging men is, according to us, crucial and strategic for improving SRHR in all countries. So what we do is we have a lot of discussions with men in fatherhood groups to promote healthy relationships and to promote equal relationships. So men do take part in the contraception and the discussions in the family on this. So we are really proud to present these case studies of 4 provinces in Indonesia, in Yogyakarta, Lampung, East Java, and Jakarta. Well, I think that's it on my side. I will give it back to the moderator, Chika, who is the program manager for MenCare from RutgersWPF in Indonesia.
So, just a brief introduction to our panelists today. Dr. Sindhu Haryanto, he finished his PhD in 2012 from Atlanta University. Dr. Sindhu has published several articles on the journals on the research of humanities and social science or men engagement in reproductive health prevention on GBV, and also published several books on sociology economy. Dr. Sindhu will present the result of the research on engaging and promoting men's participation in contraceptives, factor associated with successful promotion of male contraceptions. And other panels is Nirmala Ika Kusumaningru. She's a psychologist from Puli Foundations, and she is also a counselor at the Puli Foundation. Nirmala Ika will present about the holistic approach on, about the engaging men through healthcare providers. And next to Nirmala Ika, there's Suharti. She's the director of Rifka Anissa Women's Crisis Center. She also has published several of journal and articles that related to integrated services system for GBV in Gunung Kidul district. She will present a holistic approach on male involvement in family planning. And the last is Sindung Haryanto, Okto Reno. He is the director of IPPF in East Java. And he will present the male participations to access male contraceptives in East Java. So for the first presenters, the time is yours, Bapak Sindhu.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. This study was conducted in two regions, when MenCare program implemented Lampung province and special region of Yogyakarta. Studies of male contraception and adoption of male contraception associated with the aspect of generalization. They conducted. In addition, there is a dearth of research based on success study to obtain lesson learned and best practice in area of successful in family planning program. This is background. Second family planning program written after ICTD Cairo didn't have noticeable effect on increasing male participation in using contraception in Indonesia. The level of male participation in family planning program in Indonesia remains low. The law of participation of Indonesian men in the use of contraceptive was influenced by several factors, such as knowledge, male attitude toward family planning, and socio-cultural condition of community. This condition is was with this condition was ironic given the global trend family planning program that led to the fulfillment of reproductive right and gender equality. The purpose of the present study was to explore male narrative and on male contraceptive as well as perception of the risk and benefit. To identify condition and factors affecting contraceptive decision making among men. To determine the negotiation process and the description of generalization with regard to male contraceptive decision making, and to identify policy, approach, and effort used to increase usage of male contraceptive. Total of 30 informants were interviewed, and in that information, there consists of 7 condom users, 60 vasectomy recipients, 5 sexual active unmarried men, and 2 married men who didn't use contraceptive. This is a result of study. Result of the in-depth interview and focus group discussion show that men had highly positive view toward contraceptive. This view was particularly reflected by the statement of the majority informant who received a vasectomy and used condom. Men who received a vasectomy had view quite different from the general stereotype men in communities who consider contraception as woman's affair. Men who received a vasectomy generally had that contraception was responsibility of both the husband and wife. Moreover, several men had high empathy toward their wife when they should use contraceptive and side effect occur. Contraceptive use for these men was a reflection of their love of their wife. More meaningfully, vasectomist men will not only position themselves as partner, but also as a agent of positive change. Men's self-assurance to undergo a vasectomy generally grew stronger after undergoing the method. And generally, vasectomy is contraceptive method that does produce side effect. On contrary, it even increases men fertility. The surrounding communities remain viewing vasectomies men as bizarre. This view stems partly from religious understanding that stem contraceptives, vasectomies kill offspring. The condition and supplementary factor. In general, growing patriarchal culture among communities constitute a cultural barrier. It's one general negative view on contraceptive. Some in general used it, among others, that contraception is woman's affair and vasectomy is attempt to castrate men, and so on. Interview with a number of informants in Lampung and Kulon Progo shown that such stereotypical view remain in existence. The informant use contraceptive had an attitude of ignoring the local community's views that tend to be negative on male contraceptive. Thus, men who use contraceptive have personality types and conditions contrary to those of men in general. The present study identified 6 conditions and factors affecting contraceptive use among men. Perceived gender equality in the present study constitutes a key factor affecting contraceptive use among men. All the informants who use contraceptive have a similar view of gender equality. This could be seen from their attitude. For example, domestic labor division pattern. In general, domestic core will divide flexibility among the husband and wife and children who were able to help. Additionally, family starting decision were generally made jointly by the husband and wife by promoting the principle of consensus. Result of in-depth interview with informant who use contraceptives show generation were varied among households, despite the similar pattern of view and practice of accurate generation. This condition is in contrast to the general picture of patriarchal culture that display the face of male domination. The families with the husband using either condom and vasectomy show the pattern of joint family strategic decision making, in which each side have the same relative position. Less significant decision concerning daily needs, such as menu, were generally made by the wife. This related to the pattern of finance management Similarly,
one example is potential agent of change because they are the one person who directly contacts with men or women to talk about reproductive health. So we try to develop and we try to. Okay. Okay. This is the continuum of approaches. Now we use gender transformative approach. Why we choose the gender transformative approach? Because the gender transformative is in this approach we share control and resource and decision making, and women empowerment are in the center of intervention. So we just not intervene to the woman, but also the system, the society, and the community. Okay. Okay. Engaging men in family planning program is not about increased number of condom user or vasectomy user, but it's also making men responsible and take appropriate and responsible action in making family and social setting more gender equitable and health for all. So basically, we try to combine this program. Okay. Basically, we try to combine all of different approach in different level to campaign in individual level. We do a campaign, and also to upstream marketing. We try to cooperate with like a magazine, like a radio to promote the main engagement, and also we try to work together with a healthcare provider, so they can become the agent of change. Okay, before I talk about the objective in training healthcare provider, there is some bias in provider against men. Most people think that reproductive healthcare facilities should be for women only, because women is traditionally been responsible for family planning. And then sometimes they think that the represent of men in healthcare facility makes female client feel uncomfortable. And also men are not interested in reproductive health services, including family planning. And then men will not want to receive health care from female services provider. There is a bias. So that's why we try to develop module with the objectives is to increase awareness, to increase understanding, to increase skill, and also to increase the ability of healthcare provider to integrate men engagement in their health program. Okay. The activity we did is the first time we develop module and guideline development, and then try out this module through our MenCare partner, and then we socializing module. We to obtain input from experts, both from healthcare community based, such as doctor, gender issue, and the informant of men, and also from user themselves, such as midwife and doctor from healthcare in Jakarta. So after we socialize, we also facilitating TOP in Jakarta, collaboration with RutgersWPFIna Indonesia and Netherlands. This training is conducted with the some of the partners. Okay. The model itself consists with several issues. First we talk about understanding man and woman itself. Then we talk about sexuality and health. And then we talk also about violence against women and child. And also we talk about communication skill for health provider. Why we input communication? Because sometimes the healthcare provider
now we will understand what violence against women very as a gender issue, but they have difficulty to engage with the clients. They don't know how to talk to the client to promote the gender engagement. So we put the communication skill in the module. Okay. Okay, this is the size. So the use of the module is basically to develop building gender perspective and the framework of the men involvement in health sector. This module was developed together with guideline services based on standard service and primary health care. So we tried to adopt the standard service in primary health care. So this gender involvement not only became a knowledge in the doctor or the midwife, but also in the system. Okay, sorry. Okay. This is the result of the training. We conduct the training in collaboration with Dinkes Jakarta. So we conduct the training for 10 primary health care in Jakarta in 5 areas. And then we also do a media campaign. We make a poster and also banner. The concept is this banner we will put in front of the primary gate in the front gate, so everyone, especially men who come to the primary healthcare, know that this primary healthcare has the services for men and for the family, not just for women or them. Okay, we also develop a booklet for family. So this booklet will give to every woman or every man who come to the primary healthcare. Okay. The challenges is to increase the involvement of more male counselor and male healthcare provider, because usually the one who are interested to join this activity is always women. So we try to involve more male counselor, and then also to building to establish cooperation with partner institutions that are integrated into the program, so that these institutions such as those carry out the university government healthcare. So this is not only, like I said, because it's not only in one knowledge or in one perspective, but in the institution perspective. So from that, I say from when we first time come to the primary health center, from the registration until the doctor is at the same framework about men engagement. And also, of course, advocacy to the government about men involvement in health sector. So the conclusion is, it will be very good if every institution can be introducing male involvement in the service provided. It is important to find a key person of men who can be there and have the power to make the change and make the institution adopt the program. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, the Foundation. So basically, we're working to motivate health providers to provide male-friendly services, including for the family planning, how to engage more active in family planning. The next presenter is from Rifka Anissa, a women's crisis center based in Yogyakarta. Rifka will give another perspective on how to engage stakeholders, mostly in advocacy works, to give a holistic approach on male involvement in family planning. Mbak Suharti Muklas, the time is yours.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Hati from Rifka Anissa. I would share a brief experiences working with the MenCare Plus program. As a MenCare Plus partner, Rifka Anissa implement similar intervention with the other organization. We have 4 key interventions such as conduct community campaign, and then conduct fathers, mothers, and also youth class. And we also conduct an advocacy, and we working with health sector in 2 districts in Gunung Kidul and also in Kulon Progo in Yogyakarta. In each district, we work in 2 sub-district level. And in terms of advocacy, we try to find the best strategy in the community in order to engage all stakeholders within sub-district level. So that we call as a holistic approach. We start working with the stakeholder in sub-district level with analyzing the problem that faced by the communities. So we find some social problem in the community such as gender-based violence, and then maternal mortality, child marriage, family planning issues that are related to baby boom in the communities, and also the drug use. That each social problem have connected each other and have cross-cutting issue each other. In order to try solving the problem in this community, we try working with all stakeholders by signing an MOU within all stakeholders in the community, such as a headman and then health sector, puskesmas in this community, school, and religious leader, which is KUA, religious office affair in the community, and leader in the women leader in the community, which is PKK, and several stakeholders in this community. Each stakeholder have their own responsibility to find the best strategy to solve the problem that we visit in the community. This is the stakeholder that signing an MOU in sub-district level. We signing for MOU in the 4 sub-district level in Gunung Kidul. They have own responsibility that signing in this MOU. Yes. And in terms of family planning, Rifka Anissa work closely with the family planning officer that in Bahasa called petugas lapangan KB, and also with the midwife, religious leader of KUA, school head, and also headman. The activities that carried out in the community is such as premarital course in the religious office in the community. In the premarital course, we do campaign and also raise awareness relating to the family planning, gender-based violence, and also relating to its sexual reproductive health and right. And in the school, we also conduct like socialization among the students related to family planning and also gender-based violence. And in the Rifka Anissa have a specific role to raise an awareness relating to the gender perspective and also redefinition of masculinity. Since in the patriarchal culture, family planning is always a responsibility of a woman. So previously, as almost activities in promoting family planning will always targeting women without raise awareness of gender perspective. That before said by Pak Sindung, it's also related to the power relation and also the masculinity issue. In MenCare Plus, we start to work with the gender awareness rising, before we start the talk about the family planning from the medical perspective. And Rifka Anissa have a responsibility in order to raise awareness and to discuss about the masculinity issues. This is our picture when we discuss with the younger people in the community. This is a kind of activity that we conduct. Yeah. And I want to also highlight that when we working together with the stakeholder, we also setting a budget within the stakeholder. Like when we conduct a premarital course with the KUA, KUA will also set the budget, and we and the other stakeholder like school also set a budget for conduct this activity. And based on our experience working with stakeholder in order to promote family planning, particularly in engaging men in family planning, there are some lessons learned that as a factor of as a successful factor to engaging men in family planning in the communities. One is commitment among stakeholders. We need strong leadership in the community in order to lead the networking within the stakeholder in the community. And second, how we can share a budget among stakeholders, and this is also have big challenges since some partner, some stakeholder, maybe they doesn't have a specific budget from these issues, but we try to find the best way to allocate the budget for this activity. And that is coordination and monitoring and evaluation regularly. We conduct 3-month monitoring activity to measure how our indicator or how our goal achieve or not, what is the challenges, what is the lesson learned, and also the other one is how we can involve all stakeholders within the sub-district level. Yeah, and actually I have one testimony from a man after participating in the father class. He said that after participating in the father class, I can communicate easier with my wife when deciding contraception that we will use. And also I try to start using a condom after he participated in the 10 session discussion that we conduct in the community.
Applause for Rifka. Rifka just emphasize how important working for the community awareness by educating community about issue gender-based violence and family planning, but also how to engage the local government to give more attention that it is important involving more men, and especially one of the successful stories that Rifka Anissa has an MOU from the local government at Gunung Kidul to allocate budgets. So it doesn't depend on the donors or other fundings, but also from the local resources. For the next presenter, Octoredo from IPPF East Java will present more into engaging religious leaders at the community level in Jombang and Bondowoso. So, the time is yours.
Thank you, Mbak Cita. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to tell you about how activities in MenCare Plus in East Java, especially in Bondowoso and Jombang district. This is not so far away from Surabaya, the capital of Surabaya, the capital of East Java. Sorry, the slide is. I will tell you about the actor and the activities. We know in Indonesia, usually if we think about the posyandu or community health sector, our community health activities, that the health center usually full of the women. But in Jombang, it initiated that the health center in community is full of, and I think not full, but some men join about to the health center in Jombang. We call a posyandu ayah because the posyandu ayah established or set up in the Saturday or Sunday. It's voluntary activity. We promote father who cares movement to promoting male contraceptive. We give information in the father community health center desk. Another side, we involve father to father community health center. It's done in Jombang, usually on Saturday or Sunday. So the father can accompany his children to access health center, or we call posyandu in Indonesia. And the second, we get a collaboration with religious leader. We are promoting well information on contraceptive through Friday speech. In Muslim culture or in Muslim, when a Friday a man have to go to the mosque, and the religious leader will be speech into the communities, and there is a meal gathering in the sub-district communities, so they can tell to the communities that the male contraceptive is open and is not haram or is allowed. We made workshop with the religious leader that came and giving any information about family planning and contraceptive that related to the Muslim context, especially justified with Quran. And the third, we done MenCare communities like a father, mother, boys and girls community. The activities are regular meeting in community and give information, communication and education in community to promote contraceptive. And fourth, we train family planning cadre in 3KPN on in 3KPN we call PLKB, the cadre in the sub district. We train them, and this activity are the community training to promote male contraceptive. Next slide. This is our output, information, education, and communication material distributed to the community, especially to the men who choose male contraceptive. It can be done with mouth-to-mouth or sharing by the radio or the social media like SMS or the radio. And the community activities like social media, because the Jombang and Bondowoso is very difficult to get a signal. So although this is a small impact, but it is very useful, and it can make a man awareing to know about the male contraceptive. And the second, the communities know several contraceptive methods and understand the most effectiveness methods. That, like example for the condoms, is very effective, but this is still difficulty to use men because a lot of myth and stigma for using condom. And the third, men choose contraceptive, at least contraceptive will be discussed with husband and wife. And the fourth, male contraceptive higher than before. In Jombang, before the project implementation, less than 10 men using condoms. After the project and finishing 2015, more than 100 men using condom. And this is effectively or regularly. How about in male participant to access male contraceptive in East Java? First, male contraception session we discuss as a main session in community discussion. But we discuss about gender equality session before discuss about family planning. So it can make easy to promote male contraceptive. Some participants, not only men but women or wife, ask a condom and try to discuss to her husband and try to this at home. Second, carers in public health services in sub-district until to the district and voluntary counselor are trained to promote and educate citizens how to access male contraceptive. It's supported by information, education, and communication material. This is some quote we find when discussed with the facilitator and participant. The facilitator said that many participants do not know about male contraceptive. And the contraceptive are women business, it's not for the men. And third, some participants need condom and facilitator we combine as a condom distributor. So the condom we bring to the facilitator and facilitator distribute to the community. And the fourth, facilitator as a role model. When the facilitator as a role model, the community will trust and try to use the condom. The participants said that some participants that know and aware than using male contraceptive because they don't know, they don't use the contraceptive for male, especially condom, because this is very easy. No libido effect, maybe decreasing libido for men who are using male contraceptive, and using condom is reducing pressure. And who are the beneficiaries? Our community, the beneficiaries are father, mother, youth in our area project in Bondowoso and Jombang. The citizen who came to our public event, an example in Indonesia is very famous Car Free Day event every Sunday and public dialogue. And third, the religious leader and community leader are beneficiaries, and National for Family Planning and IPPA is Java, empowering and coaching field officer to promote male contraceptive. That's my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. So, on the important note that to address hegemonic masculinity throughout the majority of males in society, including their social norms, to determine men's perceptions about family planning, it is important again to engage religious leaders with such a beautiful examples like giving away the Friday speech with the good gender perspective message. So after this, I give you time for the audience to ask for the clarifications or any other questions to our panels. Maybe for the first rounds, because we still have time, 5 questions. Just mention the name. If you want to ask questions in Bahasa Indonesia, we have Rinaldi to help to translate to English. Yeah, 1, another, 2 from the bottom, and okay, we can start the first questions. Silakan Ibu. Pak Sindu, appreciate Pak Sindu, dan selamat untuk PhD-nya. Atau ke India belum ya? Belum ya? Sudah juga. Pak Sindu, I'm sorry. And I read your research. I could not find what you call it in Indonesia. Benang merah. What in Indonesia benang merah? Because I don't know. This is a qualitative approach, and then if I think about a qualitative approach, I need some more details about information. So, but in here, I cannot see that. And then, a simple question: what is your informant? What are your informants? And how do you select that one? And then also, I can understand you say what slide you have for that
policy improvement, and then you also have conclusion. Can you explain also again about policy of improvement? If it's your correct, this information is the information you collect from your study or your research, and then that's for passing law. For Malang, that Kampulik, you have so many nice programs. Can you tell me how, before you create the program, what do you do? I mean, do you implement also need assessment, something like that? And who is your target in this activity? The family, no, health workers, or who are they? So, because if you want to do something, if you want to create activities, actually we need something how to get the problems in the community, and at least I'm sorry if you told before, but I cannot see it. And also for sorry, Chica, or Torino also, sorry, Mas Doctor, you, Torino, this location in Jombang and Bondowoso. So, do you have criteria to select that location? Okay, so I agree with you. We call it Paguyuban, Paguyuban Pria, because I did research in Jombang, but I think around 8 years ago. So really, we did the focus group discussion among what we call it, the MOB, what call it, MOB, but operation for mayor. So I agree with you, but how do you have a criteria for this location? Thank you.
I think we're going to answer for your questions first before going to another questions. Pak Sindung will answer in bahasa Indonesia, and Rinaldi please complete the translation.
I'm sorry. Saya harus pakai bahasa ibu saya karena saya cinta dengan ibu saya.
I have to use my mother tongue because I really like English.
Baik Ibu. Jadi penanyakan mengenai benang merahnya antara hasil riset dengan iya.
So you're asking about the life between the methodology and then the research question.
Jadi mungkin begini Bu. Jadi dari background riset ini dikatakan bahwa partisipasi laki-laki dalam KB di Indonesia ini masih sangat rendah.
So the background of the research is the participation rate of males in contraceptive is still relatively low.
Banyak faktor yang menyebabkan mengapa rendahnya partisipasi laki-laki dalam KB.
There's a lot of contributing factors why the males contraceptive using rates is very low.
Tetapi dari berbagai daerah kita ingin melihat daerah-daerah mana yang mempunyai keberhasilan dalam meningkatkan partisipasi laki-laki dalam KB.
However, from all these areas, we want to see what contributing factors that what contributing factors for male to use contraceptive instead of finding the
Jadi Kulon Progo dan Bandar Lampung itu dipilih karena merupakan dua daerah yang mempunyai keberhasilan dalam KB.
Kulon Progo and Lampung was chosen because they had a higher rates of contraceptive use among males.
Jadi kita ingin mengetahui listener dan best practice dari kedua daerah itu sehingga bisa menjadi model yang bisa diterapkan di daerah lain.
That's why we want to learn about the lesson learned and best practices from this location so that it can be replicated as models to other areas.
Nah, beberapa daerah seperti misalnya Kulon Progo itu sangat berhasil dalam meningkatkan partisipasi laki-laki dalam KB.
Some areas such as Kulon Progo has a high rate of successful rate on male contraceptives.
Daerah Kulon Progo itu mempunyai kebijakan yang inovatif untuk meningkatkan partisipasi laki-laki dalam KB melalui inovasi KIE dan juga pemberian reward.
Okay, so why Kulon Progo is being successful for the implementing program for male? It's because they have innovative policies such as providing IC materials such as information, education, and communications, and then giving rewards.
Bagi laki-laki yang ber-KB yang mau memakai vasektomi di Kulon Progo, itu mereka diberikan imbalan berupa 1 ekor kambing.
For those males who are using contraceptives, they will get rewards such as 1 sheep for each male.
Itu dari kantong uangnya bupati sendiri.
That's from the uang sendiri, uang sendiri. Okay, so that's from the resident.
Ya. Jadi pemerintah Kulon Progo berhasil mendorong dunia swasta juga ikut berperan dalam mensukseskan program KB.
So the Kulon Progo government has also encouraged the private sector to join this program.
Mereka juga mempunyai inovatif dalam KIE, misalnya yang tadi ada gambar itu, nah ini adalah media KIE melalui kesenian tradisional yang disebut dengan reok soreng.
So this is the IC materials using traditional art called reok soreng.
Jadi melalui media-media seperti ini, kemudian masyarakat menjadi paham mengenai manfaat kontrasepsi, terutama adalah vasektomi.
So through this method, the public has become more aware about the contraceptives, especially on the issues of vasektomi.
Di Bandar Lampung juga melalui optimalisasi peer group. Jadi kebijakan-kebijakan seperti ini merupakan semacam breakthrough yang mampu mendorong partisipasi laki-laki dalam KB.
Also in Bandar Lampung, they use the roles of peer group to encourage males to use contraceptives.
Kemudian kami memilih informannya melalui prosedur penelitian kualitatif.
So we choose the informal to qualitative method.
Melalui wawancara pendahuluan kepada key informan.
Through initial interview by key informan.
Jadi saya kira itu Bu, mungkin mudah-mudahan bisa menjawab.
So that's why I hope it can answer the questions.
For the next question,
Oke, terima kasih Ibu. Saya pakai bahasa Indonesia juga ya. Biar kita ada kerjaan. Oke Ibu, terima kasih untuk pertanyaannya. Apakah ada melakukan penelitian? Iya Bu, tapi memang tidak penelitian yang seperti apa karena di Jakarta itu kan memang kita harus menggunakan pendekatan yang agak berbeda karena masyarakatnya berbeda. Karakter masyarakatnya berbeda.
Okay, okay, thank you for your question. So we did have a survey in Jakarta, but the survey wasn't really big because the needs of people in Jakarta is not different from other region.
Seperti tadi saya bilang bahwa Pulih sebenarnya menggunakan multi level approach di mana kita juga bergerak di level individual. Jadi untuk level individual memang kita membuat semacam FGD untuk laki-laki, ayah muda dan juga remaja laki-laki.
So from Pulih we use multiple level approaches such as through the focus group discussion, through the nurse group, and then young nurse group.
Ya. Dan dari situ kita mendapatkan hasil bahwa untuk bagaimana cara yang bisa kira-kira masuk di laki-laki dan di ayah untuk karakter Jakarta, dan salah satunya adalah kebutuhan juga untuk adanya keterlibatan pekerja kesehatan.
So from these multi-level approaches, by involving males, we get to know the insight that when we decide to work with these groups, we really need to involve health sector.
Nah kebetulan ketika itu Pulih memang memiliki kerjasama dengan Kementerian Kesehatan, dengan BPPK untuk screening domestic violence.
And at the time, Pulih also has a cooperation with Ministry of Violence.
Sehingga kemudian kami
by screening violence.
Ya, by screening. Sehingga kami menggunakan kesempatan itu juga untuk banyak berdiskusi dengan teman-teman di Kementerian Kesehatan, terutama di BPPK-nya, di bagian BPPK untuk training-trainingnya. Dan di situ kami menemukan bahwa ternyata belum ada modul yang khusus membicarakan keterlibatan laki-laki.
Okay, so from those opportunities, we got the insight that within the Ministry of Health, and as particularly within the training division, we found that there's no model specific for health professionals.
Itu sih Bu kira-kira, jadi akhirnya kita mengembangkan modul karena hasil diskusi dengan teman-teman dari kementerian.
So that's why we developed the module on discussion with this.
Kamu? Kamu sih?
Untuk merubah mindsetnya pria.
Untuk evaluasi memang kita belum sampai. Jadi kita baru di level sosialisasi dan kemudian TOT dengan teman-teman di kementerian. Tapi kemudian kita juga kemarin men-training, kemudian kita mau-propose. Ternyata di kementerian ada kendala, cukup sulit kalau untuk menjadi berarti modul ini diadaptasi oleh kementerian, sehingga kemudian kami mendekati Dinkes.
So speaking about the evaluation, we haven't been done any evaluation towards this program, but then so far we have been working with the health, with the office health.
Oke, dan setelah dengan Dinkes, kami kemarin melakukan training dan rencananya memang baru akan dievaluasi Januari ini.
So we plan on the evaluation by this January.
To save the time, I hope Octa can answer that.
Thank you, Ibu. I will try to answer you in bahasa Inggris. And we can discuss later deeply in our booth. I think we have a lot of materials. We can discuss about the material. IPPF is Java choosing Bondowoso and Jombang that based on our data that child marriage especially in Bondowo is so high because more than 1,000 cases we can find in the religious course about the divorce for the child marriage. The data is 2 years later, and 2 years ago. Sorry. And the second, we think that the government in Jombang and Bondowoso are corporate, so we can discuss before we starting the project. We discuss to the government how the effort for the next project or the next year about this program. if the government accepting our condition, our contribution to the district in Jombang and Bondowoso, and we continuing about this program. And the third, based on our assessment, the culture is the big barrier in Bondowoso and Jombang, especially the culture combining with the religious justified. So we cooperation or we discuss with the religious leader how to decreasing the barrier about the culture and the religious or the Muslim context. I think that the answer, but deeply we can discuss in our bootcamp. Thank you.
Thank you. Give it up for the second questions. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. My name is Uli from Intrahead. The question is for Livmana and Rizka. How many men were reached by your program, and how can you ensure that this program will be sustainable? Thank you.
There's another questions.
My name is Kennedy Majima from South Africa. You are doing a quite interesting program here. Now, my question, I want to ask Alayato. Now, you've talked about the rewards, male rewards, livestock rewards. How do you reward the people? Because if somebody is getting a livestock, maybe he can come to you and say, we're using this, and yet they are not using it for the sake of getting that particular livestock. How efficient are you that this person who is getting the reward is the right person who is supposed to get the reward because of using the method? And the second question is, we are talking of male contraceptive involvement. In Indonesia, what are the male methods that are preferred by the Indonesians? Because we don't know. Is it male condom? Is it vasectomy? Is it a pill? Is it male-based or female-based? So that we can have more light on that. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Police now have around more than 55 male to help police, and also this is the male who already have like a gender preference change. So how we maintain is we have something like through social media, and sometimes we make some kind like offline meeting to discuss about the issue with the man and also with the family. Maybe sometimes we also invite the wife and also the child. So we make a several activity. So this man is not only by one activity and then we go that, but we try to always engage them in the activity that, and also we try to make them like a ambassador to speak to another man about how their transformation.
Thank you. In 3 years, RutgersWPFIna work in 8 villages, and we conduct around 16 class, fathers class. With in each class consists about 15 until 20 fathers, and also similar in the boys class. So we calculate about maybe 1,000, ranging from 500 until 1,000 male have reached by this program in this community. And about the sustainability, in 4 villages, in 2016, they have been allocating a budget to continuing the father class and also voice class in the community. And in the last November, and also we work with the Ministry of Women Affairs. They also interest to replicate these models in several provinces. So we work to drafting the regulation in Ministry of Women Affairs on how to preventing gender-based violence and also the related issues such as family planning through ministry regulation. And we hope this regulation will enacted in the early years. So we hope that after the regulation has been enacted, it will replicate in several provinces in Indonesia.
Thank you. Saya masih setia dengan bahasa Inggris.
I still love using bahasa Indonesia.
Jadi pemerintah Kulon Progo itu mensosialisasikan program vasektomi kepada masyarakat ke seluruh desa.
So the Kulon Progo government has a program in socializing vasektomi program to public.
Nah kemudian laki-laki yang mempunyai minat untuk melakukan vasektomi mendaftarkan kepada ketua RT setempat.
So the male who has the willingness to do the vasektomi program need to sign up to the head of district.
Kemudian setelah itu mereka mendapatkan konseling dari tenaga kesehatan yang ahli dan konselingnya meliputi beberapa tahap.
So after that, they will need to undergo counseling about specific topics related to vasektomi.
Itu untuk menghilangkan hambatan-hambatan psikologis laki-laki yang akan melakukan vasektomi.
This is to reduce the psychological barriers for men who are willing to undergo vasektomi.
Nah, kemudian setelah mereka melakukan vasektomi, kemudian diberikan reward.
So after they undergo vasektomi, they will get the reward.
Nah, tapi reward itu sebetulnya merupakan stimulus bagi laki-laki untuk melakukan vasektomi.
However, the reward is more on stimulus for male to undergo vasektomi.
Ada banyak faktor-faktor yang lain yang mempengaruhi keputusan dia memakai vasektomi.
There's other factors contributing why he decided to undergo vasektomi.
Jadi pemberian reward itu cukup efektif merangsang laki-laki untuk lebih tahu mengenai vasektomi.
So the reward has been a catalyst for male to undergo vasektomi.
Setelah mendapatkan informasi, laki-laki itu kemudian yakin dengan vasektomi.
So after getting the information, the male has become more convinced to use vasektomi.
Metode kontrasepsi bagi laki-laki di Indonesia hanya dikenal dua.
There's only two methods for male contraception.
Indonesia, kondom and vasektomi.
Kondom and vasektomi.
Dan kondom merupakan yang lebih populer daripada vasektomi.
And kondom is more popular than vasektomi.
Kira itu.
Thank you.
Thank you. Giving applause. And I know it's getting late. If you have any questions that maybe not okay, yeah.
Okay, in English. Okay, my name is Rizky Mahardika. I am from Indonesia, Adolescent Program from Population and Family Planning Department of Indonesia. I want to ask this morning. I want to ask about MenCare program. Is there a specific program for young people? Yeah, MenCare program. Okay, if I have it, I would like to explain it for me and for audience. Thank you.
Yes, a very good question. Thank you very much. Maybe we did not explain this at length because in this short meeting we cannot explain and go into depth of the whole MenCare program because it's a very complex program with a lot of layers of the intervention. So really, if you want to know more, then please talk with my dear colleagues if you want to know more. But yes, MenCare is also addressing young boys. And as you have heard, there are fatherhood groups. We also have boys groups, discussion groups, in which we discuss with young boys, teenagers, young men about male contraception, but also about healthy relationships, about violence in relationships, and about how to become a good father. So it's all about preparing yourself for fatherhood and everything that that happens before that. So it's very interesting intervention. Both fatherhood groups and boys groups, because men and boys discuss in these groups. So it's not a one-way direction, it's not a socialization or a lecture, but it's becoming part of the group. And that is exactly what the MenCare program is about, that you participate, you are part of a group because men want to share their stories. They want to tell what their problems are, or what their hesitations are, what they think about, or what they fear. So it's, well, we have had Mike Kaufman in Indonesia. I don't know whether you know him. He is very much aware of this, let's say, phenomena that men would like to share, and that this is a very important and good intervention to use in the MenCare program by having these discussion groups where men can address everything. And of course, the facilitators are very well trained by us to do these facilitation sessions. You cannot just sit there and have a discussion group. It's closed in several steps, as you have seen. Step by step, we build up until the most difficult parts of the program and the intervention. And one of the very important things is the gender equality that must be very that men must be very well informed on that in a participatory way. So that's a little part of what we do with young people, as we know that this is very important also in Indonesia. It's in the MenCare program. Kelompok it's MenCare. It's MenCare.
The company is Generasi Jagoan. Thank you, Rika. So I want to thank all the panelists, but before we closing the sessions, I want Ibu wanted to have a bit of closing statement. We also have a refreshment outside. You know, it's very late. And before that, I give you a brief time to just get a closing statement. Thank you.
Yeah, very, very short. So again, what you have witnessed is a very short presentations on what we do in 4 regions, on perceptions of men in contraceptives, on what we do, how to engage the health sector, and what we do in communities, and what we do with religious leaders. And also very interesting, the health center led by fathers in Jombang. So these are little gems, little pearls of what we do in the MenCare program related to family planning. We do a lot more related to gender-based violence. And we are really happy to share more with you. As I said, this is a very small part, and these are also very small achievements, what we do. And Indonesia is a very, very big country. So what we do is only a very, very little bit, and we cannot reach, unfortunately, the whole country. Then we would be able to change the country, but that is not possible yet. So it was also mentioned by my dear friends that we need strong leaders at the community level, we need political commitment at the district level, and we need support from the national level, as we have a little support from the Women's Affairs Ministry. To scale up, we need more if we want to scale up this very interesting program. And I have been following some sessions. I was also in the faith-based pre-conference, and it was mentioned again and again that male involvement is a very, very good way of intervention to use in family. I think that's my closing remark.
Thank you for being here and to participate. And also please have a refreshment, snacks and coffee. Thank you again. Good night.
Sharing and learning is very crucial aspect. So in this session, we will discuss together. We can share and learning together about the response that have been done related to end child marriage in Indonesia. So we have three sessions in 1 hour and 30 minutes. The first one we will talk a little bit related to the magnitude of child marriage in Indonesia, and then we continue with the presentation from 3 panelists, and then the most important session that we will give you to share and learning together related to intervention that have been done in your project site and program. Yes, and then before we invite the panelists to share about the experience and expertise related to how to end child marriage in Indonesia, we will show you a short film related to the impact of child marriage for young people.
Ya udah satu udah aman om.
Nah itu kan
aman.
Kalau kesini kan masih pasti antar kan. Jadi kan saya nggak di rumah, kan tadinya nggak tahu kapasitas gitu loh. Tahunya cuma teman.
Ini halangan ya sebagai orang tua ya daripada pegangan dari luar.
dipanggil masuk Tahapan selanjutnya, buka Korea dengan Pak Wandi sebagai masukan.
Sampai yang mereka, ya, terus isi, sudah hamil, mudah-mudahan. Dulu pertama-tama di rumah benar, rumah siapa? Guru orang ini sampai salah tuh dia itu, ada salah.
Tugas-tugas orang istri itu apa namanya tidak apa?
Nah, kalau lagi
boleh
Itu senang itu kan, gila. Terus sempat marah-marah, sedih, marah-marah. Marah ya tambah nih Pak. Sekolah kelas 2.
Dan menandatangani sistem pamit yang isinya ada 4 perkara. Yang pertama, tidak akan meninggalkan saudari Diana. Orang tuanya ini kebetulan Diana belum ada 16 tahun, makanya harus ada izin dispensasi dari pengadilan A, dan itu sudah dibentuk. Yang saya telah kembalikan untuk Anda dan Anda dapat sekali berupa perangkat alat sholat yang telah dibayar tunai.
saya terima nikah dan kawinnya Diana Sintir saya kerja ada di Jakarta. Untuk saya pribadi dengan mas kawin tersebut benar.
Jabat tangan bisa ke rumah. Anda merayakan juga cium tangannya masih. Nah, kita lanjutkan ke nomor 11.
Hukum itu diklarifikasi nah melakukan norma bisa tidak masih katanya dia sudah mengeluarkan air selama 3 hari, tapi kan perkiraan bulan apa ya? Tapi belum sampai saat perkiraan dia sudah mengeluarkan air, entah itu ketukan, entah apa nggak tahu selama 3 hari. Ya kemungkinan kan si Diana baru usia 14 tahun kan, kalau hamil itu seumur perempuan kan harus 20 tahun. Nanti kalau si Diana itu berhasil kan antara kelahirannya kan testing. Setelah bayinya lahir itu ternyata bayinya itu prematur hanya 9 tahun. Lalu dibawa ke rumah sakit. Kemudian sampai malam hari, paginya meninggal.
Misalnya, kalau soalnya buat menggunakan strategi ya.
Mama aku pelatih sekarang 18 tahun. Aku dulu umur 13 tahun. Itu kan 13 tahun masih kita kenal itu dia pacaran berapa tahun kan? Dulu aku 14 tahun itu lama. Jadi dinilai sendiri. Waktu aku 16 tahun masih dinilai itu lagi. Iya, dulu aku makan sekolah malu itu sama teman-teman kan aku sudah ketahuan kalau aku udah nikah. Kan banyak temennya yang nanya gitu. Suka aja gitu, ya udah daripada malu dari kemarin kuliah juga kan saya mau sekolah kok kan ya di kuliah juga lewati gitu kan. Ya udah setelah menikah 1 bulan aku langsung hamil. Dulu kan suami aku minta kerja di Jakarta gitu buat cari uang buat masa depan besok. Nah, aku nggak boleh ya. Nah, itu kan aku 4 bulan dia kerja di sana, aku kan tiap hari dia suruh bikin uang aku buat beli susu. Tapi dianya malah nggak mau, aku mau nanggung uangnya motor gitu. Terus setelah itu kan beberapa bulan lagi aku minta lagi dan kemudian begini nggak tahu dia pulang mau nikah. Orang tua aku juga tidak mau pergi, tapi kalau dia biar ada yang berisi, kita aku dulu pengen tuh sudah bilang sama ibu sama bapak pengen jadi dokter tapi jadi suster gitu. Kalau sekarang udah kayak gini, udah nggak bisa apa lagi, udah nggak bisa sekolah, udah nggak bisa, ya, udah seperti ini lah sekarang.
Okay, it's very sad story here. Okay, and after this film, and we are happy that we have one women activist to be best of the film. Thank you. Yeah, to explore more about the situation of child marriage in Indonesia, and we are happy that we have a woman activist, and she was also actively fight for to end child marriage in Indonesia. So beside me, she is Ibu Zumrotin K. Susilo from Yayasan Kesehatan Perempuan or Women Health Foundation. So Ibu Zumrotin can explain to all of us about the impact of child marriage in Indonesia from a social point of view. So Ibu Zumrotin, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. This is funny because most of the audience is Indonesia, but I have to speak in English. So my English is very limited. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friend, because this is younger than me, so dear friend. Dear friend, in the era of globalization, when the modern technology made everyone possible to get information, but why the child marriage still there in some countries, especially in the poor countries. We seem like live in the 1 century before, because this is not equal with the condition of modern technology. So this is very, I think it's very poor for the women in some country or including Indonesia. As we all know, child marriage defined as marriage before age 18. It is limited to this condition. Make if every one girl in 9 girls is about 18 million have been forced into marriage between age of 10 to 50 in the developing country. So it's very good number. In Indonesia, we have marriage law number 1, the year 1974. I think this is very long ago. That the minimum legal age of marriage for the girl is 16 years old. This law in contradictory with law number 23 year 2002 about child protection. The definition of that law that child is until someone 6 years old. So with this situation, contradictory, that means the government of Indonesia legalize child to marry. So this is in the reality. The government of Indonesia legalize child to marry. And until now, we cannot. It's very difficult to change about the marriage of the girl in Indonesia because our organization is already go to the Mahkamah Constitution Court to make to choose to improve the age of the girl from 18 from 16 to 18. But it is not easy. Almost 2 years we through it with us to the through the what we call campaign to the girl and community in Indonesia to support our strategy to the constitution court, but unfortunately we are lose. That is because of that is only because the Muslim leader don't agree with it. Even other religion like Buddhist, Catholic, Christian, Hindu agree with our bill. They are agree, but only one religion, Muslim. Even this Muslim, like from Muhammadiyah and NU, for this organization have men and women. Even the women in NU and women in Muhammadiyah, here in the front is women of Muhammadiyah. But who come in the court is men, so they don't agree with this. I think this is a problem of the organization, of the Muslim organization, for especially for women, how to put the men in that organization. So this is, I think, what we call that is because the concept of masculine of the concept. So maybe most of women organization in that religious organization have to push women. Due to its population size, of Indonesia, is among the 10 countries with highest observed number of child rates. In Indonesia, we are in number in 10 with the child rates. So this is very huge, I think. And estimate one in every 5 girls in Indonesia is married before 18 years old. That means the Indonesia ranking of Indonesia 37 in the world and second in the ASEAN after Cambodia. We actually try to look the negative impact when we go to the some area, because in the some area I already have experience in the 10 district, like Situbondo, Bondowoso, Sambas, Tasik Malaya, Cianjur, and other district, 10 district. The reason why the child married under 16. That is every reason. One is because the condition of economy is very poor, like it's in Bondowoso, it's very poor condition. So the parent they don't have responsibility to their daughter. They push their daughter to go married, like in the film, I think. They push the daughter to get married, and they think if the daughter get married and then they don't have responsibility anymore. But the data in Bondowoso, 48.7 or 4.9% married before 16 under 16 and under 16. And after 1 year, 50 50% divorce. With this condition, I think Bondowoso, this district is not easy to to solve the poor condition in the community, because after they divorce and then they already get one children, and then they have to go to as a migrant worker outside Indonesia, and sometimes they go as a prostitution. So this is very bad condition in that time. And if you go there, a child with 6 years, they don't go to the school because their grandmother don't have education anymore. So they don't think that go to school is very important. The other reason is interpretation of the religion. Like in Banjarmasin is Sultan Malkan. They are better economic situation, but still the child marriage is still high. That is because interpretation of religion. In the interpretation, after menstruation, women have to marry, should be married, because they worry that the relationship between girl and boy, and then they get married is not good for the parent. I think in this condition we have to make negotiation or advocate to the leader of district to give good interpretation. I think not good interpretation, appropriate interpretation of the religion. So every reason we have to solve the problem is different kind. And the other hand, because the culture, like in West Java, West Java, like Cianjur, and like not Aceh or other country, yeah, Indramayu is because the culture. If they have daughter, 18 years old, 16 years old, and then don't marry, that means is it's not good for the family. I think the parent cannot sell their children. In the culture, better to be widow than better to be widow than girls still go to the school. And the other reason is married by accident. So with the reason, we have to make appropriate strategy. I mean, in the district with that reason, we have to give sexual and reproductive education. I think this is important thing, and this is not easy because if I go to the district and give training for the not senior high school, and then the leader of religion will not agree with our activity because they don't know what the material of education, So when I go to Bondowoso and the Islamic leader demonstration for our activity, so I asked the district leader, please bring all the ustad or the Islamic leader, and then I give information what our material for sexual and reproductive. You know, most of the Islamic leader is already old. And the first time I asked to him, who have to wife? Because usually Islamic leader have to wife. If you have to wife, when you are more than 60 years old, that means you can know how to sexual expression. They don't know how to express their sexuality. They only know about intercourse. They don't know if they already old. They have other strategy because I get old. more than almost 70 years. So I know how to do strategy, how to maintain, not intercost anymore. Ya, 5 menit lagi. Yes. So I talk to them, I talk to them, the cycles of sexual expression. People already get sick more than 70 years. Sexual expression like elementary school or like senior high school. Unless that you look beautiful. Yeah, you look beautiful. It's okay because when I go to the senior high school, I ask to the people, to the students who have handphone, all of them. Yeah, I have. So I ask to them, please, through you have handphone, how to express your sexuality. And then the day after that, I ask them, what you experience? I put my handphone under the pillow because my boyfriend said that you're beautiful. Yeah. And then I try to make what we call the experience with the sexual expression through handphone in the elementary school, senior high school, like they proud, they happy, they go to the mirror because their husband and their husband. Their boyfriend said she is beautiful. And then if you are intercourse with your boyfriend, what do you say? What do you feel? And then they said that worried, get pregnant, she wanted to see, wanted to the parent. This one is more comfortable for you. This one, so please with this strategy for your work. So this is a leader of Muslim. It's okay. Go to my school. Go to my center before you go home to your family. So this is the strategy. You have to get appropriate information to the Islamic leader. So because sorry, so the impact of child marriage in economy, in health, in the safety, and the losses of the future. The girl will lose his future because when they marry, like in that film, they not for the girl they don't go to the school anymore. But for boys, they still go to the school. Yeah, they still go to school. But for the women, that means the human resources for women, the quality of resources of women is very, very bad situation. So in some place like no women to be this requirement anymore because only junior high school is very, very difficult to get a good position. I think the government have to make a regulation. If the girl get married and get baby, then can go to the school because to make the quality of the baby. Because in our experience in the some university, women is to be lead in the university than men. So we have give opportunity if we want to get the good human resources in the future. Because we don't have any information about nutrition, about how to handle their baby. That means the baby don't have, they will lose their future also. I think the impact of the child marriage and we all this campaign in some ministry of in the education, in the health, in in the religion, but because the culture of, I think in that time, the government always worried or afraid with MUI Majelis Ulama of Indonesia. When we have government regulation number 61, sorry, number 61, that women can abortion if they get pregnant. I go to the police and I ask the police, please don't criminalize the girl of people when they abortion because with the reason of the what police said? You are afraid with Majelis Ulama of Indonesia. I asked to the Pak Haiti, the leader of police in Indonesia. You are the police of MUI or you are police of government of Indonesia. If you are police of MUI, please don't do that. But if you are police of the government of Indonesia, you have to implement the government regulation number 61 that the women can get a person if the reason of rape or family incest. Unfortunately, the parliament don't give reason incest because if incest is mean the child with the father. They can take care of the baby. This is lazy, the parliament. They don't have impact of the social. They don't even psychologically. This is psychologically for the baby or for the girl. It's very, very good. But my parliament, my parliament, they don't have think what the critics. So this is the situation of Indonesia. I thought I was work in some district in the time. I have some MOU with the leader of district. I never go there if they don't want MOU with me. MOU because when I have program there 1 year, and then the local government have to continue with their budget. If they don't agree, I go to the other district. Like in Banten, it's not easy. So very fundamental is Muslim. So I go to the Batam. Batam is more accommodative, and then I bring this program in the other district, and then the government in the local district continue with their so this is our experience.
Okay. Thank you so much. Very interesting. Ujung was highlighted that some key factor has already lead child marriage situation in Indonesia, such as interpretation of religion and social norms. Social norm related to marriage and also sexuality and gender norms related to masculinity and femininity. But Ibu Zul in the presentation also shown us that child marriage also give impact to the poverty. Now, it's interesting also to see the economic point of view that how big that a state will be lost if child marriage happened for a long time. So we have an expert of economics, the second panelist. His name is Bapak Sony Harmadi. He is Director of Demographic Institute, Faculty of Economic and Business University of Indonesia. So please give applause to Pak Sony.
Thank you very much, Pak Adi. Very good evening, Bapak Ibu, distinguished participants. I think humanity is a universal language. So we do understand the message from the film. So it's real and let us work together in preventing child marriage. First of all, I would like to appreciate the trouble, the RutgersWPF Indonesia has taken to prepare this very important side event, and thank you for inviting me for to join this session. My presentation today will be trying to convince the policy makers about the adverse economic impacts of child marriage. Sometimes it is easier for us to understand the impact of any action by using economic calculation. And as Bu Zumroti mentioned before, that child marriage refers to any marriage of a child younger than 18 years old. And then why we should end the child marriage is the very important question, because it has so many adverse impacts in terms of economic, social, health, as well as education and human capital in the long run. And the problem is, the challenge is, child marriage is common in many developing countries, including Indonesia. And then economic analysis on child marriage. Sorry. Marital status becomes more prominent now in the field of economic development. This is because the field studies conditions for an economy not only to grow, but to grow in perpetuity. It means that we need a sustainability of the growth itself. In this slide, people are seen not as mere factor of production, but as human capital whose skills and intelligence are really important of a continuous economic growth. In Indonesia, specifically, dropping out of schools is one of the reasons drive child marriage. Some factors bring about dropout from schools, including poverty, low grades, health problems, long distance to school, bad school quality, lack of higher level school, or sometimes parents' misconception about the value of education as something of less important. The other factor is the marriage law set the legal age for girls to marry at 16, as Bu Zumroti mentioned before. On the other hand, the child protection law defining those who are under 18 as a child orders parents to prevent marriage at child age. And I think from my perspective, it's only from my opinion, another incentive that may encourage child marriage is the right to vote, because the law set the minimum age to vote at 17. However, those who are under 17 but already married have the right to vote. And then, is it a global issue? Yes, it is. As UNICEF announced in 2014, more than 700 women in the world have been married before age of 18. This is 1 in 10 of our population. And worse, about 250 million of them entered into union before age 15. It means 1 in 28 world population. How about Indonesia? This is the stylish fact of Indonesia. According to Susenas 2014, Susenas is a national socio-economic survey conducted by Central Board of Statistics. It shows that 11.75% of girls aged 15 to 19 ever married, where 75% of this group live in rural area. 80% of under 20 married girls have education at most at junior high school. Yes, so it will hamper the quality of the people in the long run. it is quite surprising if we take a look at the result of population census in 2010. It shows that as much as 12% of female population married at age between 10 to 15 years age. So this is our problem. How about the economic impact? So according or based on the Amjad Rabi calculation, Amjad Rabi from United Nations Children's Fund, Nepal country office, as I remember, he examines and estimates the national economic loss in terms of potential cash flow from labor market that could have been generated had girls delayed their marriage until the age of 20. The cost of child marriage, considered only from the labor market perspective, is estimated to 1.7% of GDP in 2014. And it does not mean, but it does not mean that if Indonesia's girls delay their marriage until age of 20, the country will immediately gain 1.7% of GDP. It does suggest that if girls delay their marriage until 20 years, the possible cash flow over their productive age, productive years, will be on average higher than seen in the current situation. And the calculation, the Amjad Rabi calculation, focus on educational deprivation and the consequent loss in earnings as a result of child and adolescent marriage. According to my own calculation, with a very simple method, it comes up with the loss of 3.09% of GDP in 2014. It is higher than the calculation of Amjad Rabi because I also include boys' marriage, not only the girls. Yeah? And then this is the loss of income from boys and girls of age 15 to 19 as if they delay their marriage until age 20. I assume that for those of age 18 and 19, their foregone income is the income level of high school graduate. But for those age 15 to 17, the income level is of junior high school graduate. In any case, the economic loss of child marriage is a very significant number. Due to the time constraint, and now I have come to the end of my presentation. Economic loss from child marriage is very large. The argument of some people that raising the minimum legal age of marriage for girls does not necessarily prevent adultery must be challenged. As Bu Zumrotin mentioned before, that some NGOs propose an amendment of the marriage law to increase the minimum age for girls from 16 from 19 to 21. Yeah, Bu, ya? No, ya. That's all. Okay. Only women, yeah. I'm sorry. And it has been rejected by the Constitution Court because they argue that it does not necessarily prevent adultery. Raising the legal minimum age at marriage up to 18 for girls needs to be accompanied by provision of education If they cannot pursue to the higher level of education, it does not mean anything. So we have to improve the access of education, addressing underlying factors perpetuating in practice. In some regions, Indonesia, for some regions in Indonesia, there's a proverb, yeah, better to be a young widow rather than to be a spinster. Nah, it's very common. Jadi kalau bahasa Indonesia lebih baik jadi janda muda daripada perawan tua. Ya, it's common. So I'm very proud to be a young widow rather than a spinster or virgin. Then, yeah, that's custom and tradition in several regions. And in immediate term, it is critically important to help already married girls to avoid early pregnancy, and when pregnant, have access to appropriate care during pregnancy, childbirth, and postpartum, including access to family planning. I would like to emphasize that if we cannot prevent child marriage, then we have to ensure the access of young couples to the family planning services. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pak Sony. So, Pak Sony already explained that child marriage situation has led that state can be lost 3.09% of gross domestic product. I think we try to calculate the state economic loss because of child marriage, and this is we can use this to become the advocacy tool to negotiate with government why government must be prevent boys and girls from the child marriage situation. Now, in Indonesia, many restaurants have already done, and then we know that the last about judicial review that rejected by the court, and then this time I will invite Ibu Monique Susman. She is director of RutgersWPF Indonesia to more elaborate about what have been done in Indonesia to respond to this situation and where is the gap and room for improvement. So, Ibu Monique, the time is yours.
Thank you very much, Hari. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really happy to be here and to sit in front of you. I will present my presentation on the name of, on behalf of the One Vision Alliance. As you can see the logo, Alliances op Visie, because this whole event has been organized by the One Vision Alliance, which is an alliance of 22 organizations working in SRHR in Indonesia. And we join together to be stronger and to have more impact together in working together and together implementing several programs. So what we did in Indonesia is what we did a couple of months ago is before we started to think about this event was we need to have a focus group discussion to have an idea of what we actually do all together. So we what we did is we conducted a focus group discussion with 14 relevant organizations. Then together we mapped ideal interventions based on knowledge and experience. So what we did is we started dreaming. We asked those organizations present, what is your dream? What are the ideal interventions we should do to
born by a young girl. So that kind of got us clicking. Then when we got to know about few child marriages happening in the village, we got the media really activated. And media likes these very, sensationalizing news, etc. They like all this. And we used that tool to capture some real incidents where girls were being sold to, older men, and how we got the media to actually take clippings. We got them to actually, play it on the local radio, in the local newspaper, and the parent was actually put behind bars for just one day. But even that was very critical, because that sent a message across to the community that if you do this, you're going to be behind bars. So that was a tool that we used. And the third thing that we of course did was that we created peer educators, like Murali talked about, young people who were very hesitant to talk about that they don't want to get married early but were hesitant. We gave them comprehensive sexuality education. These were very few young, strong, individual boys and girls we built in the community and to whom we talked, and we linked them up with youth clubs. These are youth clubs which are existing, So we worked basically with the existing community structures. We strengthened them, made them the voice to combat child marriages, and also worked with the community influencers. So I can relate very well to the Indonesian example, how a community influencer, religious leader, takes all the decisions. So it was important to work at both levels, and of course at the advocacy level. So as Murali had also pointed out, the child marriage protection committees were just on paper. We kind of revitalized them, and these members are from the community. There is the village leader is there, there's a teacher, there is a health service provider. These are all people who represent the community.
And children also.
And children themselves, young children, from the age of 10 onwards. So, a very concentrated sensitization program of these child protection committee, and they took it upon themselves to actually go into homes of those parents where girls were being sort of, talked about that they were getting married. So our learnings from this program, the next phase that we want to do is employability. So we feel that if you can retain a girl in school beyond class 10, she has less prospects of, there's more prospects of early dropouts of girls, and then they get married. If they have an employability, if they have a vocational training, they're bringing some money to the family, the parents will think about postponing a marriage, because girls are supposed to be burdens for parents in India at least. So, if their economic contribution to the family increases, perhaps their age at marriage will increase as well. And that is also very aspirational, because all young girls want to continue education and contribute. So I can go on and on. I know I had only 3 minutes. So thank you so much for giving us this space to share our experience. We have some booklets behind. We also have a movie, very touching, similar one to what you have developed. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Sina. Ladies and gentlemen, I see that all of you come from the various organization background, such as the service-based organization, young people, youth network, and then faith-based organization. I think that you have a maybe different concerns, but one dream to end child marriage in Indonesia. So it's time for you to raise your hand and speak your name, where do you come from. You can ask questions to the presenter, or you can share your story or experience for all of us, please. Okay. We start from
Thank you. I'm Firdaus from IPPAW Sumatera. Saya akan cerita dalam bahasa Indonesia pendek saja. Mungkin hari bisa bantu sedikit. Kita ada studi kecil di Sumatera Barat. UNICEF mengatakan bahwa child marriage itu lebih banyak disebabkan oleh faktor ekonomi, kemiskinan. Tapi hasil studi kami mengatakan bahwa dari FGD dan interview yang kita lakukan, itu ada persoalan bahwa seksual, ya, bahwa sudah mulai aktif seksual sejak lebih muda. Ini hasil temuan kami di lapangan. Ini di sebuah daerah di Sumatera Barat. Lalu yang kedua adalah ada kekhawatiran kehilangan pasangan pada waktu muda itu karena pacaran. Lalu mereka mencoba menarik perhatian orang tua supaya mereka segera dikawinkan. Ini hasil penelitian kami. Itu pendek ya. Jadi tidak hanya persoalan miskin.
Pak Firdaus said that even though the UNICEF said that child marriage situation led by economic factor, but the research from the West Sumatra found that there are some factor like a sexuality among young people. Sexuality because the young people face the unwanted pregnancy. Oh yeah, lose the partners, a boyfriend or girlfriend, so they decided to marry soon. Yeah. So, Bandaus, do you have concern asking question for the panelists or share the story only? Okay. So, Bandaus said that sexuality among young people also become a key factor that lead to marriage situation in Indonesia, especially in West Sumatra. Okay, so we move to the second. Who want to ask a question or share story? I said the three people. Maybe you and then you. So you can say your name, where do you come from, and to whom that you want to ask question. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for your opportunity. My name is Ita. I'm from Jakarta. I'm a student, and my question is specifically for Pak Sony. So Pak Sony, I'm very interested with the economic aspect of child marriage because I think that's like the most important influence that can lead to family or maybe young couple decision to get married. I know that you mentioned that child marriage leads to 1.7% of lost GDP in Indonesia, but I guess the prediction assume that there is a counterfactual situation that teenager can choose whether they want to get married early or they want to continue their education, so they will have a better opportunity to get better job. But I think most of the time in Indonesia situation, like a lot of young people, they don't get those counterfactual. Like most of young people in rural area, they don't have counter reality that they will get to continue their education because there is not enough good school, or even their family don't have enough money to send their kids to school. So like the most rational economic decision that they can make, given that their poor socioeconomic situation, is to get their children married. So for example, also like if they got their daughter get pregnant at the age of maybe 15, they know like it's more beneficial if they have their daughter to continue their education under high school, but they don't have the money to send their children, and they think it's better economically, although in the short run, to marry their children so they will have husband, and at least the husband will have the job to support the wife instead of the child only can depend on their children. So I wonder if you have maybe like, if you yourself have done maybe like any economic analysis or maybe another study that's been done out there, like it is in the short run that it's more economic to decide on child marriage, because I imagine like those families and those all the young couples, they don't have long run, like long term, like they only have short term decisions to make because they don't have like opportunity or like the privilege to decide on the long term. For example, like middle income families who have two parents that have like enough income, they can provide safety net for the children while they continue their education. But a lot of these poor families, they don't have the safety net to maybe like make sure that these children can have education. So that's like the short economic decision is like the most rational decision is to have child marriage.
Thank you.
Pak Sony can answer the question directly. Please make it short, ya Pak.
I would like to address the statement of Pak Firdaus first. Yeah. Faithful waiting for too long. Yeah. Cinta sejati setiap nanti. Yeah, and I do agree with your statement because of the control over sexuality now is the most reasons why parents or children choose to have child marriage. But we have to analyze deeper about the problem behind child marriage in Indonesia. It's a good story from West Sumatra. The second question is, it's my own experience. I had an experience in Lombok, West Nusa Tenggara. I met a young girl with a little baby, yeah, and I asked her, what are you waiting for? I'm waiting for my husband coming from Malaysia. He is a migrant worker. And I asked her, how old are you? I am 14 years old. How old is your baby? My baby is 14 months. And how old is your husband? My husband is 15 years old. Yeah. And it is not allowed to be a migrant worker under 17 years old. So, yes, so it's go to fight for that. I and Monique have discussed just before the session about the way forward. It's really important to have more robust calculation about the economic impact from child marriage. And I think it's really important for us. And I do agree with your statement, but seperti saya lupa. Yeah, but we need to step forward with a robust calculation and comprehensive analysis economic impact of child marriage. It's very simple, yeah. It's very simple calculation. Now Indonesia is experiencing a demographic dividend. If we cannot fulfill some requirements of demographic dividend, so we cannot maximize the potential of the demographic dividend. One of the reasons because of the child marriage. So we can use the calculation of the child marriage, the adverse economic impact, to convince the policymaker that we need to prevent the child marriage in order to optimize the demographic dividend in Indonesia. Because now every policymaker in Indonesia always said we are experiencing demographic dividend. Yeah, it's very happening in Indonesia. So demographic dividend, maybe Bu Monique we can discuss that, but it's very good.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pak Sony. And Ibu Zoom will give a short point of view related to control sexuality.
Karena pertanyaannya bahasa Indonesia dan pertanyaannya bahasa Indonesia. Pak Firdaus, saya tadi menyatakan bahwa alasannya itu adalah beberapa hal. Jawa Timur, Bondowoso sama Sambas kemiskinan. Daerah Bapak Sumatera memang hamil di luar nikah dulu. Jadi Sumatera. Terus nanti kalau Indramayu budaya, kalau Banjarmasin itu adalah karena interpretasi agama. Jadi memang di tempat Bapak itu adalah karena seksual aktif saat muda. Tapi menurut saya, kalau seksual aktif pada saat muda, menurut saya penyelesaian apa yang harus dilakukan adalah pendidikan seksual dan kesehatan reproduksi. Tidak bisa namanya seksual muda kemudian penyelesaiannya menikah. Itu yang kemudian Pak Sony akan ngomong bahwa ini gimana? Ya kan? Kok karena seksual aktif penyelesaiannya kawin? Itu tidak benar. Seksual aktif penyelesaiannya adalah pendidikan seks dan kesehatan reproduksi. Tidak bisa dengan penyelesaian lain. Itu yang harus dilakukan. Dan di Sumatera, permisif masyarakat tentang pernikahan anak itu tinggi sekali. Bahkan ada yang menikah itu sudah ada bayinya dan ditaruh di tengah. Menurut saya ini sudah apa ini? Gitu loh. Menurut saya ada yang tidak pas menurut saya. Nah itu kira-kira jawaban saya pendek. Jadi tempat Anda Sumatera memang itu yang dilakukan. Tapi penyelesaiannya sekali lagi saya tidak setuju kalau itu dinikahkan. Menikahkan itu bukan penyelesaian pendidikan seksual yang harus dilakukan. Bagaimana saja kalau dinikahkan dia pasti akan ekonominya akan hancur, pendidikannya hanya segitu kok gitu. Nah, yang lainnya adalah begini. Kok saya tidak setuju ya, takut dengan pasangan itu pasti gombalnya laki-laki. Jadi kalau kamu tidak serahkan, buktikanlah cintamu padaku. Kalau tidak kamu sama saya tinggal, maka diberikanlah itu. Jadi itu sebabnya. Itu saya tahu Sumatera itu ya apa tipu-tipu padangnya lah. Sorry,
that's okay.
Yeah, because if I say in Indonesia, I can
from the heart. Yes. I understand.
Jadi coba dilihat, tidak, saya yakin ya, kalau pacaran di masa muda dan kemudian menyerahkan itu hanya karena ketakutan ditinggalkan, maka kalau perempuan diminta dan dirayu seperti itu, justru laki-lakinya harus ditinggalkan. I will try, but not as expressive as Ibu Zoom because she was really into it. What she basically said, correct me if I'm wrong because she was so excited, that being sexual active is not a reason to say, okay, then we marry the girl off, etc., etc. Being sexual active or having the fact that there is sexual activity within a group of young people means we have to provide comprehensive sexuality education or use-friendly services or use-friendly services. So that is there's no other solution to being sexual active than comprehensive sexual education. The girl, or being afraid of social norms or religious norms, etc., etc. And in the end, if I'm not wrong, the economy will there will be a loss in economic income because these girls get no chances in school, etc. And their income, even if they work, their income will be low because they have no higher education. So that's
Sorry, I will get to address one question from you, from your Made. You may refer to my presentation, my slide, that some reasons why children dropping out of school, and it will drive marriage, poverty, low grades of problems, and also because lack of nutrition during their
childhood. So yeah, we will continue. So we can continue. Yeah. So later now, you can comment directly during food or dinner. Yeah.
Thank you. I will not ask a question to Pak Sony, but I will ask a question to the gentleman from India.
Murari, she's asking you.
I'm Winnie from the Legal Government Institute. That's why I will not ask a question. I will ask you about, well, I would like to see that your religion is a very interesting one. Besides that you are empowering women, you're also pushing the family of girls that are going to be young brides. Your law is better than ours. I would like to ask about how does it work? How do the parents react? As in Indonesia, marriage is a private thing. How do they react? How many percent of the families that will then postpone the marriage?
This is actually a very big challenge because civil society organizations like us who always believe that we are the part of the community, we try to build the relations with the community, we do a lot of focus on the rapport building, but this is what we go against the community. So the PRI elected members do not want to raise their voice against the child marriage because majority, 70% in our case, the area where we work, 70% girls gets out of the school because of the marriage, and almost 50-55% girls get married. That means 50% of the community are against the process that we do. And the priests also don't want to raise a voice because this is related to their earning. So there are a lot of factors around. So what we do is basically then we, in the child protection committee that we form in the village, we try to put all these people who are influential. At the same time, as I said, that we have an Aflatun program we call, where we empower the young boys and girls both, so that they raise their voice, they learn to say no, and at least if they fail to do that, they report us through 1098. Or if they don't do that, we have established a linkages with the school teachers and the peers, so that peers goes and tells the school teacher that there is a case happening there. So then the school teacher inform us or the administration. So the moment we get this information, in schools also you have put 1098. So the way anyway, because reporting is the most important lose factor, because if you do not have a report, you don't know how to reach. So we are trying to strengthen the reporting mechanism. But the actual challenge one we face is when you take the administration when the family is not ready, when you try to reinforce the law, then we face problem we face is to establish the age. We have to establish the girl's age is 18. So suppose if it is a 17-year or 16-year, parents say 18 and then say that there is no birth certificate. And government law says the birth certificates, the school certificate will not be accepted as a birth certificate. It has to be the municipality certificate or maybe doctor certificate. So that is one challenge, and if it goes actually then through the interventions, community counseling, we try to manage that. And if there's still the people, so far we have not reached that case anyway, but there's a provision that if there is a certain silver lining between the age, then DNA testing government has a provision to do it. So then when we go through that community counseling, then we'll say that if you go through a DNA process and if it establishes the child is below, then you will be having a further legal consequences. So it's better that you postpone. So that's a kind of a negative environment gets created. That's why I said then we have a follow-up program. So the area when we try to reinforce the law, we have a long presence in those community like women's self-help groups and etc. So we try to engage them. Then PRI gives us a support from back. They don't come front because they think that if I go against the community, they will not vote for me. So that's why the lot of enabling environment activity is very important. So then we do a large kind of this kind of a program, puppets, so nookers, so that and district level, lot of sensitization of all the stakeholders. So whether it is the priest, whether it's the magistrate, whether it's the policeman or there's parents, in-laws, we engage all of them so that they creates a kind of a environment where we get some kind of support, because still 55% people are with us. 50% are against. So we try to use that platform.
Thank you, Murari. Very interesting. So, I think, Kenya or Diana? Diana, do you want to ask questions? No? No, okay. Yeah, Fenia and Faiko, and we'll stop after that. Okay, thank you. Make it short, yeah, right?
Okay, my name is Renia. I'm for I will have a okay. I will have a short question, but two of them. First is to Pasoni. Whether we like it or not, we always have a debate on the venture of child marriage. Is there any chance that we can get quantitative data on the reason of child marriage? Second question is for I saw the FGD, the presentation, and it said 14 organizations participate in the FGD. But what organization participated? Because you have mentioned 14 organizations, but what organization participated? Whether it's only inside of the One Alliance vision or because it's not on the presentation. For Ibu I heard that the next step advocacy is to our residents. We want to make a country or some regulation, government regulation to change the so yeah. Do you have a comment on that? What is the next step?
Yeah, thank you, Fenia. And the last one from young people. We want to hear the voice of young people. Faiko.
Okay, I'm Faiko from Alliance. So I have a short question. I have attended several social media platforms say that because of the out of school, drop of school and they go to the marriage and there's another. But I'm curious about Indonesia, whether there is the relation between drop of school to the child, or maybe because of they should marry in the young age and they have to go to school. Is there a number of the research that we have in Indonesia? Thank you.
Thank you so much, very interesting. So Pak Sony, you just have 2 minutes, and Ibu Monitor and Ibu Zoom too. Yeah, Frenia and then Faiko. Thank you so much because we have to stop it.
Yeah, thank you. Unfortunately, the secondary data is not available. Yes, that is office never provide this kind of data. So we have to collect the data by ourselves. We need a survey. So that's why we need to discuss about the step forward to conduct a big survey or something like a survey to produce quite representative data. And for FICO, because there is no data on that, that's only my opinion, as I mentioned before. Yeah, of course, because it can be both, yeah, because drop out from school or because they're, as Sumbrati said before, marriage by accident. Yeah. We need data now. We have to make a calculation and then we can elaborate the analysis. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Sony, and continue with Ibu Moni.
Again, as I said, it's not representative. It was just to get an idea of this event. But the list is here. But yeah, there is a Commission on Violence Against Women. There was IPA. There was some local NGOs from the Alliance. There was UNICEF plan, World Vision, and the Indonesian Child Protection Commission, and Women Research Institute, and some others. So it was a mix of institutions in Indonesia. And it's not representative, it's just that we wanted to get an
And we should do this on a bigger level, and we should have more fun.
Belas Pak Ibu Zoom.
Ya, pada saat kita kalah di Mahkamah Konstitusi, resonansi dari kekalahan itu tinggi sekali. Jadi kalah tapi resonansi, jadi menjadikan ular dari banyak organisasi gitu, termasuk di kajian wanita UI dan juga menggalang beberapa aktivis itu yang kayaknya mau bersama-sama kita juga itu mau ke Perpu. Tapi saat ini secara paralel itu kita melakukan advokasi ke daerah-daerah. Jadi resonansi itu kuat sekali sehingga mulai banyak daerah-daerah yang meskipun pemerintah tidak merubah undang-undang itu, daerah membuat peraturan bupati, per kota, per itu ada, MTB ada ya, gubernur, Gunung Kidul itu juga ada pergub, dan kita akan daerah-daerah kita akan ajak dia bikin sendiri-sendiri gitu, yang kira-kira meskipun tidak nasional ada tapi lokal juga tidak berjalan. Nah, kita akan lebih menginjak bumi apabila daerah-daerah juga mempunyai ketentuan itu. Nah, mungkin nanti paralel kita akan Perpu itu masih belum, baru kita audiensnya sama Teten saja gitu, karena itu teman dekat ya, jadi baru kita akan gagasan itu dan nanti setelah itu akan dibawa ke sini.
Okay, thank you so much. So we have learned that community empowerment is an essential intervention strategy beside advocacy to reduce child marriage in Indonesia. Since mostly child marriage is decided by parents, extended families, and community surrounding, shows the economic impact of child marriage is expected to give a logical thought for policymakers to look at and deal with these issues as part of development program. Synergizing intervention is imperative to reduce child marriage in a systematic and structured way. So thank you so much for interesting session. So give applause to Pak Sony, Ibu Moni, and Ibu Zoe. And I know that many things and many ideas that you want to share, but we provide food over there. You can continue your chat and networking and sharing your lesson learned. And we have also Mbak Hati from Rifka Anissa that have experience to advocate child marriage policy in Kulon Progo, Yogyakarta. You can chat with Mbak Hati. And the backside, on the backside, we provide